Welcome viewers to Bodhi Unified Flow. Here we simplify complexity and amplify performance. Today, we're unlocking the fundamental engine of wealth, literally, the core of it all. We're talking about topic 2, compounding explained. We're going to dive into the time value of money and see exactly how compounding accelerates your wealth to create massive exponential growth. All right, let's just get right into it.
To keep things structured, here's our agenda for this explainer. First, we'll establish the time value concept. Then, we'll compare linear versus exponential growth. After that, we're popping the hood to look at the compounding engine itself, followed by intra-year frequency dynamics. Finally, we'll tackle a massive behavioral trap called the procrastination tax, and then wrap it all up with our summary and references. Simple enough, right? Let's move on.
So, what are you actually going to get out of this? Well, by the end of our time together, you'll deeply understand the time value of money, or TVM. You'll easily differentiate between simple and compound interest. You're also going to grasp the math behind compounding frequencies. Don't worry, no confusing jargon here. And most importantly, you'll recognize the true, tangible cost of waiting to invest. Basically, we're giving you the mathematical mechanics of wealth creation.
Okay, Section 1, the time value concept.
You really can't understand compounding without first grasping the relationship between time and money. The time value of money, or TVM, states a really simple, yet absolutely profound truth. Money available to you today is worth more, a lot more, than that exact same amount promised to you in the future. Now, this isn't just about human nature or wanting instant gratification. It's about intrinsic earning capacity. Money literally has a timeline. 100 rupees today is not the same as 100 rupees 2 years from now.
And here's the core reason why. When you have resources in your hands right now, in the present, they can be immediately deployed to acquire assets or generate interest. They start adding incremental value right away. Because of this, any delay in receiving or investing your capital carries a huge opportunity cost. If you've got money today, put it to work immediately. Let it compound. Every single day your capital sits idle in a checking account, or every day you wait to receive it, you are actively losing out on its potential to generate wealth.
Moving right along into Section 2, linear versus exponential growth. We need to clearly differentiate between linear and exponential accumulation because they are completely different mathematical beasts. Simple interest is your linear trajectory. It's calculated exclusively on your original principal amount. The earning power is totally static. It never accelerates. Think of it like taking a fixed amount of cash and just tossing it into a physical safe every single month. Predictable but slow. Compound interest, on the other hand, is an exponential engine. It uses a constant multiplier, meaning your interest is calculated on the original principal plus all the accumulated interest from previous periods. Basically, your interest starts earning its own interest. That is a game changer. Look at this table to see how these two paths totally diverge over time. Imagine a $10,000 investment at a 5% interest rate. At year 3, the simple interest balance is $11,500. And the compound interest balance is just slightly higher at $11,576. You might look at that and think, the difference is pretty modest, right? But hold on. Look at the 30-year horizon. The simple interest investment slowly climbs to $25,000. But the compound interest investment, it reaches over $43,200. Over extended horizons, that interest on interest practically doubles your wealth compared to just simple static growth.
To really wrap your head around this exponential growth, think about what veteran investors call the power table of 2. 2 to the power of 1 is 2. To the power of 2, it's 4. Nothing crazy yet. But when you get to 2 to the power of 10, it's 1,024. That right there is the magic of compounding. The base has this immense hidden power. The growth curve always starts out slow, kind of testing your patience, but eventually it absolutely skyrockets. The longer you stay invested, the harder and faster your money works for you.
All right, Section 3, the compounding engine. Let's see how this actually works.
Here's the standard mathematical formula for discrete compounding. A equals P times 1 plus R to the power of N. P is your principal, R is the rate of return, and N is the number of periods. I know, looking at formulas can be a bit dry, but here's the crucial takeaway. Engaging this formula isn't just some neat trick. It's a mathematical necessity for your financial survival. Why? Because we live in an inflationary world. The cost of living is continuously rising. If inflation is the quiet force eroding your wealth, compounding is the powerful engine that generates it, creating a massive snowball effect.
Let's look at some data from Savings Fitness to see this snowball effect in action on a $1,000 investment. Just notice the impact of simply increasing your rate of return. If you manage to double your rate from 4% to 8%, look at the end result after 30 years. At 4%, you've got $3,243. But at 8%, you have over $10,000. Let that sink in. You didn't just double your money by doubling the rate. Your end result is literally over 3 times what you would have accumulated at the lower rate. That is the engine at work.
Let's move to Section 4, Intra-Year Frequency Dynamics.
The speed of your compounding engine isn't just about the number of years or the interest rate. It's also about how frequently we apply that interest within a single year. The more frequently interest is calculated, the faster your balance grows. Take a look at this table. If we have a nominal 6% rate, annual compounding gives you exactly 6%. But as we increase the frequency, moving to quarterly, then monthly, and finally daily compounding, where n equals 365, your effective annual rate, or EAR, creeps up to 6.183%. Why? Because each compounding event creates a brand new, slightly larger base for the very next calculation.
Even on a short, one-year horizon, with a $100,000 balance at a modest 3% rate, this frequency dynamic really shows up. Annual compounding gets you $3,000 in interest. Monthly boosts that to $3,041. Daily compounding pushes it to $3,045. Now, you might be thinking, well, an extra $15 isn't exactly life-changing. And over a single year in a low-interest rate environment, sure. But remember, this dynamic scales massively with time, with a higher interest rate, and with a larger principal balance. Ultimately, a higher frequency can and often does beat higher nominal rates.
Okay, let's talk about Section 5, the Procrastination Tax. With all this incredible mathematical power at our fingertips, what do you think is the single most expensive mistake people make? It's waiting. Many people intuitively know that investing is important, but they still put it off. Why is that? Well, it's a massive psychological barrier. People, especially folks in their 20s and 30s, often convince themselves that investing small amounts, like just a few thousand rupees a month, is totally insignificant. They tell themselves, I'll start properly when I'm making more money. But as we've just seen with our formulas, time is the critical exponent. So, what is the harsh mathematical reality of this behavioral trap?
Let me illustrate this with a classic real-life scenario. Consider 2 professionals. Person A is an early starter at age 25. They immediately begin investing 5,000 rupees every single month. Person B thinks 5,000 is basically pocket change and waits 10 whole years. They start at age 35, but to make up for lost time, they invest 3 times as much, 15,000 rupees monthly. Fast forward to age 45. The late starter has actually put in a total out-of-pocket capital of 18 lakhs. The early starter? They only put in 12 lakhs.
Conventional logic would tell us that person B, the late starter who invested way more of their own cash, should have a much bigger portfolio, right? Well, let's look at the results, assuming a 12% annual return for both. The early starter, despite putting in way less of their own hard-earned money, accumulates a massive 50 lakhs. The late starter, who aggressively invested much more cash, only reaches about 34 lakhs. The mathematics here completely defies our human intuition.
The absolute most crucial point on this chart is that 15 lakh differential. That 15 lakhs, that is the procrastination tax. That is the devastating, real-world price you pay for waiting for tomorrow to do what you can easily do today. Time in the market is not just a slight advantage. It is the primary driver of wealth creation. Every single year you delay is a year of explosive, exponential compounding growth that you can literally never recover.
That brings us to Section 6, Summary and References.
Let's quickly recap what we've unpacked today. We learned that the time value of money dictates that $1 today is always worth more than $1 tomorrow because it can be put to work right now. We saw how compounding acts as an exponential wealth engine, creating a massive snowball effect compared to just linear, simple interest. We uncovered that intra-year frequencies really matter. The more often interest is applied, the higher your effective yield. And finally, we confronted the stark reality that delaying your investments, even if you plan to invest heavily later on, incurs a huge, unrecoverable procrastination tax.
So, I want to leave you with this final, provocative thought. Knowing everything you now know about the uncompromising math of exponential growth, are you going to keep paying the procrastination tax, or will you put time on your side and start your compounding engine today? Honestly, mathematically speaking, the choice couldn't be clearer.
Thank you so much for joining Bodhi Unified Flow. On the screen, you'll see the references we cited in today's explainer for your continued learning.
We highly encourage you to explore these sources to further deepen your understanding of financial performance. Until next time, keep learning and absolutely keep compounding.